Welcome to another edition of the Coach Daboll Show presented by Ford. I'm Bob Papa. On Sunday, the Giants take on the Indianapolis Colts. Coming up on the program, Carl Banks will go to the coach's tape with strategy. We'll take a look at some head-to-head matchups. Sean O'Hara joins us as well with a special guest. But as always, we welcome in the head coach of the New York Giants, Brian Daboll. And Coach, final home game against a pretty unique opponent in the fact that the Colts need this game to keep their playoff hopes alive. And Anthony Richardson is sort of this enigma, explosive, big play guy. What have you seen on tape that jumps out at you?
Yeah, he's big and he's strong, and they try to get him the ball early, in the run game in particular. But he has a rocket arm. He'll take chances down the field and give his guys chances. And he uses Downs, who's been a really good player for them. Catch and run plays, explosive, really coming along. And you got Jonathan Taylor back there, so you take a look at that Tennessee game. And they got off to a really fast start, up 38-7, all the way up basically until the end of the third quarter. And they put it in his hands. They gave it to Jonathan, and they hit a couple explosives.
Coach, talk a little bit about Jonathan Taylor, because he's, you hear a lot of names around the league, but he is right up there with them in terms of elite running backs. Yeah,
no question. He's big, he's strong, and he's fast. And he hit basically 2 70-yarders last game to really open it up for him. Once he gets some space, he's hard to catch, and he's a heck of a football player.
Coach, when you look at them defensively, what are some of the challenges that they'll present this week?
Yeah, Coach Bradley's, he's been doing it for a long time, and they run a very sound scheme. A lot of zone coverage, but play it certain ways. So, again, they got 2 really good guys inside that cause problems, and it'll be a challenge.
Coach, when you look at last week's game, there was this feeling here, right? You get the lead, a heck of a play by in the back of the end zone by Tracy, and it felt like momentum was on your side, and it kind of flipped. When it flips like that, how hard is it to get it back?
You just gotta execute. You gotta take it one play at a time, and again, if you have 2 turnovers for pick sixes. It's very hard to win. I came back and looked at the last 10 years when that's happened. It's happened 15 times, and teams are 0-15, and the point differential is 25 points. That's hard to do. You got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. We have to do a better job of taking care of the ball on offense and play complementary football.
Competition level. You got Cordell Flott back. He got some reps in there. You got Banks back in the lineup, rotating people in and out. How hard is it to kind of call defenses and offenses when you have so many moving parts like you've had with the quarterback position?
Yeah, it's the National Football League, so you game plan, and you got to get ready to play a game, and whoever's out there, you game plan for those players, and you got to go out there and play and coach well.
How do you track your rookies when you look at day one to where they are now? Do you give them a report card, or is it just constant communication?
Yeah, it's constant communication in all the departments, and again, we're all responsible to help the development of those guys, and those guys are young professionals, and they got to continue to grow, and they've done a nice job for us.
In your quarterback room, obviously it's been a lot of moving pieces here, but how about the guys all kind of helping each other? Because they seem to all get along pretty well.
Yeah, they put everything they got into it each week. They prepare, they help one another, they spend extra time by themselves, extra time with the offensive line and running backs and the protection stuff. They're doing everything they can.
Coach, we appreciate a couple minutes. Good luck on Sunday.
Thanks, guys.
That's the head coach of the New York Giants, Brian Daboll, joining us here on the Coach Daboll Show. When we come back, we'll take a look at some head-to-head matchups for the Giants and Colts. All that and more here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford.
The pigskin dynasty of the New York Giants is being challenged, and the world champions are out to assert their superiority against the Chicago Cardinals. Frank Gifford, pro football's premier performer, rifles the Cards for 10 yards. Gifford again, and he's always good for a gain. And the Giants are off again. That's Gifford throwing and Webster catching for a fast 19 yards. Connerly's on target to Gifford. Frank fights, but he's outnumbered, and down he goes. The Giants carry their momentum into the third quarter. Connerly winds up and whips a long pass to Gifford. Although Frank is playing with the flu, he's flying as he goes 64 yards. Frank Gifford climaxes a spectacular performance with a 24-yard touchdown. Gifford galloped for 126 yards and caught passes for 120 more to lead the Giants to a 27-14 victory.
One of the great performances in Giants history. Carl, get this. Frank Gifford in that game against the Cardinals in 1957. Over 100 yards receiving, 100 yards rushing, and he threw a touchdown pass.
Call that a hat trick, don't you?
Yeah, it's a hat trick, and that's why he's in the Hall of Fame. As we welcome you back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. It's the Giants and Colts on Sunday. Carl, we're going to look at some head-to-head matchups in this game. Indianapolis is fighting for their playoff lives. Josh Downs had a good game last week in the win against Tennessee. Drew Phillips is really emerging for the Giants. What about this matchup here and what's important?
Well, I think what's important for Drew Phillips is to continue to be a good open field tackler, because he's going to have his work cut out for him. But the one thing that he does well is tackle in the open field, and he's going to have to limit yards after catch.
Yeah, and that's something that Downs wants to do. Let's go to the other side of the ball here for the Giants. And, you got Wan'Dale Robinson, 78 catches this season. Kenny Moore had an interception last week in the win against Tennessee. He's been around for a while, but, these are the things that the Giants, we saw last week, Wan'Dale on one of the third downs run that slant for an explosive play. The Giants need more of that.
They need more of that, and the key here for these wide receivers and Wan'Dale Robinson, be precise, because the quarterback that you have now, they change throughout the game. So just be where you're supposed to be so that you can help your quarterback out.
And Carl, one of the other things that the players have to be focused in on, last week the game was played in the Dome. Mm-hmm. Snow earlier in the week, cold, windy, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Look it into your hands, right?
Look it into your hands, no drops. But hey, look, they got a Dome team coming in, so you have to play like you're used to being outside.
Much more to come on the program. When we come back, Sean O'Hara joins us here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford.
We got some cilantro, some onions, some carrots.
Giving back to the community means a lot. Just to keep giving hope that, you just live in a situation, the situation doesn't define you.
So, I got you.
Thank y'all.
You're welcome.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
This is so nice of y'all.
Well, thank you.
Just little things like that just to keep encouraging guys.
Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. It's the Giants and Colts at MetLife Stadium on Sunday. The Giants have needed rookies to step up, like linebacker Darius Muasau. Send it over to Sean O'Hara, who had a chance to visit with the rookie backer.
Thanks, Bob. Darius, rookie year in the NFL. You're out there balling. You just led the team in tackles last week. You were all over the field. What's it been like for you this season, playing linebacker and playing in the NFL?
First of all, I'm just blessed and grateful to be where I'm at right here. All the way from Hawaii to New York. Great opportunity, like I said.
Yeah, well, you're getting better every single week. It seems like you're improving on a certain aspect of your game. What's been the hardest thing about being a linebacker in the NFL?
The hardest thing, I would say, is taking on the old linemen. There's some big boys up there up front. Yeah. It's a big jump from the college to the league, and every week it's always someone 6'5", 330, 340 that can move, that can dump me, pancake me whenever they want to. So, just being cautious of when I'm engaging with them, taking on blocks and being able to shed them, and just really learning new techniques every week.
If you're talking about getting off a block, so what are some techniques that you use? If I'm a center or a guard and I'm coming up to block you in the second level, what are you trying to do with your hands?
So first, football 101, linebacker 101. Your hands are your weapons. Whether it's like whether you're engaging on blocks, shedding blocks, attacking the ball, tackling, your hands are always the most important thing for a linebacker. And so, when you engage a blocker, you don't want to usually take them on square. Right. I know you guys like this, taking linebackers, boom, then that's when they get a hold of you, can get away with holding calls and all that. So as a linebacker, you want to kind of think of taking on half a man. And so when you're coming up, boom, thumbs up right here, taking on the chest and on the shoulder pad, boom, so you're able to get in your gap, have eyes in your gap, and if he does declare that way when the ball does, you can shed off. Little things like that are what I've been focusing on, really.
Keep that separation.
Yes, keep the separation. Get into you. No, you never do. You don't want to turn this into like a bench press thing, right? Because I'm probably shorter than you and all that. So all linemen have longer reaches than linebackers for the most part. But especially for me, knowing I'm a shorter linebacker and all that, knowing I just have to utilize my strength. So get down, boom, and we're always taught to do this 6-inch punch. So it's like this. We're ending up at 70%, and it's just a little boom. Just a little jolt. Boom.
A little jam. Okay.
Yeah, jam. Once you get the jolt, I'm pretty sure you felt it before, just a little jolt from the linebackers. And that's all we need to shed blocks. And once we get their head, the O-lineman's head pop back, then that's when we can pull, shed off. If the ball declares that way, we can shed off that way. And you know, that's where it all starts, is just from the initial engagement and then swim off, shed blocks and all that.
All right, so you already fitted in. How do you talked about shedding me, like what is telling you as we're engaged right now, you're watching the running back. At what point do you know, all right, I can shed and now come this way?
Oh, so we're taught once the ball passes the lineman's belt, that's when we're able to ignore our gap and
so
just
once he's past the lineman's
your belt,
now you know you can discard me
and make a play. So there's 3 ways that you can fill a gap, is either your eyes, your body, or with the lineman's body. Now, those are the 3 ways.
So if I'm more centered up, now you're going to use my body.
You use your body to fill that gap, and then you can disengage and make a play, or you can close it with your eyes. You don't always have to be in your gap. You can close it with your eyes, peek this way, and then shed off that way. Sometimes you don't even have to engage with blockers at certain times. Just a quick swim move, using your finesse and speed is how, you know, certain linebackers like to play. But and then the last way is just your body, like I showed before. It's just you have body presence right here in your gap. Boom, have hands inside, and then once the ball declares it, once you show body presence, it's usually not going to end up in your gap. You'll probably look for some way out, bounce out or anything, and then that's when you.
That's the cat and mouse game between you and the running back.
Exactly. It's always a chess game between you and the linebackers and the running backs.
So who has really helped you with the technique and also with the scheme?
Okay, I would say probably Bobby Okereke is one of the guys. He's the vets in our room that I really look up to. He's very detailed in his work, and he loves what he does every day, and he comes out and put on his best foot forward. And you know, I'm just looking at the minute details that he puts in every day. He always does extra work after practice. The way he sheds blocks is just very unique because of his, you know, his God-gifted talents with his long arms. And so, I may not have the same, you know, length of arms, but I'm learning a lot just to the way he maneuvers his body and gets off blocks and gets to the ball carrier no matter what. And so.
He's a good one to learn from.
Oh, yeah.
All eyes will be on you, my man. We're looking forward to watching you perform. Looking forward to a great game. So thanks so much for taking the time.
No problem.
Mahalo.
Mahalo. Right.
We got a lot more to come right here on the Coach Daboll Show.
Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Sunday, it's the Giants and Colts at MetLife Stadium, final home game of the season. Time for Strategy, brought to you by Microsoft, the official tablet of the New York Giants. And Carl, it's all about the run game with Indianapolis. Anthony Richardson, the quarterback, Jonathan Taylor, the running back. They want to pound the rock.
Right, and when you have to stop the run game, especially with a guy like Taylor, it takes a team effort. When I say team effort, everybody has to be where they're supposed to be. You can have a guy here do his job. This guy can do his job. This guy can do his job. And if this guy doesn't do his job, it makes it so much of a big task and challenge for the rest of the defense. Let me run it here so you can see it. This guy does his job. This guy does his job. This guy is here. But look at the guy who can make the play. He gets blocked. He runs right where the linebacker gets blocked. When you have to come in and fill, this is a big back. You're not going to miss him. You've got to play with leverage. You just can't overcommit. Your job is to get in the way and help get some guys to come in and help you here. He just overcommits, and he just gives him that alley just to run right there.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor had touchdown runs of 70 and 65 yards in his 3 touchdowns against Tennessee last week, which is a pretty good defense. Carl, we're going to take a look at another run here by Jonathan Taylor because there's almost some similarities to what Robinson presented last week.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it really comes to these guys are downhill runners, Bob. You need everybody where they're supposed to be. You can have a guy, again, if 4 guys do their assignment and the 5th guy doesn't, assume the ball's going there. And you'll see here again, the defensive line does not do a bad job But you have a lineman, I'm going to circle him right here. He's not going to be able to make the tackle. He comes off. Here he is. All he has to do, he plays the play as good as you can play it, but he doesn't complete the tackle.
Carl, we're going to shift gears now because Richardson and Taylor are physical players. And we're going to take a look at some more of them and just the explosiveness they bring running the football.
Yeah, okay, so you got a running back who's 200 plus pounds, and you have a quarterback who is as big as the running back, if not bigger, and he's hard to bring down too. He's fast, he's physical, and he's always a threat, not just to run the football, but passing it, but he'll pull it down if he doesn't like what he sees. This right here, Bob, if you can see the blocking scheme, it's just a sweep. And what the defense does, they knife down in here and they lose the edge in right where he wants to go. You got a receiver come down the block. Everybody's being blocked inside, and the quarterback turns the corner, bounces off one guy, and gets more yards.
All right, we're going to take a look at one more Richardson play here. And again, his threat using the legs.
Yeah, again, now let's just take a look at this, Bob. He is legitimately passing the football here, and I'm going to show you the area. He's locked in one area of the field. He does not change his focus. He's in this area, so if it's not there where he's looking, I'll freeze it. He's not looked anywhere else on the field. He's in somewhere in this window. He's looking. He doesn't like what he sees. He pulls it down, and he's running.
Now let's go to the other side of the ball, Carl, and take a look at some pressures that Tennessee is going to try to get on the quarterback. How do they put it together?
Well, Bob, communication is the key. The numbers are the numbers, right? You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys, right? You have enough to block them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Big hole here. Expect something. If you're communicating as an offensive line, expect somebody to come into this area. It's just they're not going to give you this big overload to one side and not be able to bring someone else over to balance it, because if they do that, the quarterback can just step and do what he needs to do. So let's just take a look here. It's a unique blitz because they're bringing two guys that look like they're going to go into the A-gap right here and the A-gap here, but what it ends up being is a twist. You see the two guys running A-gap? I'll freeze it. They start there, one guy's here, the other guy's here, and they come around, make the tackle. Again, you look at what appears to be an overload look. You got 1, 2, 3 to the left side of the offensive line and 2 to the other side. You know, you can count them. You can block them, right? You got 4 guys to block 4. You got 2 guys to block 2. You got a guy that's really wide out here, so you got to be alert that he's coming back inside. But let's just take a look how this happens, and this is just straight individual pass rush. Again, somebody's coming back over. So you got a guard who's looking inside. So the guard's looking inside here, so he sees this guy. The tackle's got to turn out here, and the back's got to be here. Everybody picks it up, but nobody gets it blocked.
Right.
So it's just a matter of not just getting your assignment, it's also about executing your assignment.
So that's a look at strategy presented by Microsoft, the official tablet of the Giants. Carl, some final thoughts on this game. You know, it's interesting. You mentioned Jonathan Taylor and you broke it down. They did a good job against Bijan Robinson. They did a good job against Derrick Henry. They did a good job against Alvin Kamara. It's kind of interesting that these elite running backs have not wrecked the game. The Giants are going to be called upon again to not let the lead running back wreck the game.
Again, they've had their share of running backs wrecking the game for them. And over the past 4 weeks, they've gotten it fixed. And I think they just have to continue to build on that. And I think the key, Bob, is guys getting off of blocks and making tackles. It really comes down. Missed tackles are the things that turn 3-yard gains into 30-yard gains.
And Carl, even though Anthony Richardson has not been good when it comes to completion percentage in his brief NFL career, it really is the plaster rule here because he's going to throw it and he's going to take a chance at times.
Well, he'll take a chance at times, but they've had some experience in playing Jaden Daniels twice this year. He's not as polished as Daniels, but the same philosophy should apply because if it's not there, he'll pull it down and run it. If it is there, he's not afraid to let it go.
This week's game between the Giants and Colts is presented by Moody's, the proud partner of the New York Football Giants. That wraps it up for this week's show. For Carl Banks, Coach Daboll, Sean O'Hara, and our entire crew, I'm Bob Papa. Thanks for joining us for the Coach Daboll Show presented by Ford.